Good morning and welcome back to Doing It Live with Doomlink. We are here in Lord Jabu Jabu's belly, which is a little unusual for those of you who've been watching the live streams, because for those of you who do watch the live streams, I should have completed this already. The reason why I haven't completed it already is not due to some sort of error with saving. You know, I didn't fail to save and then end up back here. What happened was, during the last live stream, I had to deal with a leaf blower and a hedge trimmer in the background. So we've had chainsaws, we've had hedge trimmers, we've had leaf blowers. I mean, anything else really. I'm here and ready to receive your background noise at any time. Seriously. Anyway, for that reason, I've decided to re-record this section. I can't completely re-record it because I, for some reason, decided to save in the middle of the dungeon during the last recording. So what I'm going to do is, even though I've completed about half of the dungeon, I'm going to retrace my steps through the dungeon for the benefit of those who didn't see it, but you'll have to accept the fact that it's not completely fresh. I can't reset the dungeon, unfortunately, unless I replay the game, so I thank you for your forbearance. And in advance, of course, I thank you in advance for your forbearance. And we'll see how we go. This particular live stream is planned to be a very long one. I don't know how many hours it's going to be. Maybe it'll be at least 3 hours. It may go for longer. I don't know. It depends on my appetite for playing this game, which is usually not able to be sustained for that length of time, but we'll see. I just wanted to get a lot done, you know. I don't want to be doing maybe 3 parts in one live stream because I feel like I'm not getting through the game fast enough. I feel like I'll be here for like 2 months otherwise. Let's get it done quicker than that. It's not that I dislike Ocarina of Time. It's just that I don't want to be playing the game for that long. I suppose I will kill these Octoroks because... Hold on. I will kill them because I do need to actually hit the... switch on the ceiling. No, that's certainly not what I'm trying to target. There we are. Honestly, the bubbles, despite technically being enemies, do not actually try to kill you. So, there you go. Definitely, at that time, the priority was the Octoroks. Now, something that is worth commenting upon is how disgustingly high resolution this is. I mean, do I really need to see what looks like a sphincter? Or would you say that's a sphincter? Anyway, the point is, it looks like some kind of internal opening, which is precisely what it is. It's just I don't want to have the full detail visible to me. This is an electric jellyfish. We can't actually kill it unless we have the boomerang. Now, I must confess, I do actually have the boomerang that you get from this dungeon, because as I said, I did get about halfway through it on this save. But we're not going to use it because I'm technically not supposed to have it for this little showcasing of the dungeon. You will speak with Ruto up there, and then you will come down here, speak with her further, and then you will pick her up and go this way. As I say, I'm retracing my steps through the dungeon so that at the very least I can sort of show what has been done and what hasn't been done. I believe there's a Skulltula on that wall, so get that. There are also these weird enemies. I believe you can use a Deku Nut to get them out of the ground if you are minded to do so, but if you're patient, you can just wait for them to pop up. My patience is being tested, just for the record. Hold on, do I have Deku Nuts on hand? I do not, but I'll try and equip them. Where would I like to equip them? Maybe here. There you go. Alright, you're getting Deku Nutted, because I do not have the patience. Now you'll see that when they do get hit... Whoops. Whoops. Okay. See how they wiggle around a bit? That wiggling animation of theirs is essentially their invulnerability period. So if you shoot too many Deku Nuts, or sorry, Deku Seeds, too quickly, you're going to end up wasting them. So you hit it once, let it stop wiggling around, and then you shoot again, and then voila. you have a dead stingray-looking thing. Now, I believe we came from that side, so we are heading over here. You will be traveling with Ruto at this time, so what you want to do is throw her up onto here and then raise the water and come over here and continue carrying her this way. The purpose of traveling in this direction with Ruto is that you're trying to take her back to the beginning of the dungeon. If you had noticed, what we did was we fell down to a lower level, so this is all about returning back to the top. And then, with Ruto at your side, you will be able to take on the rest of the dungeon. Lord Jubba Jubba's belly is quite quick to get through, I should mention. It's going to be particularly quick to get through in this demonstration of Jubba Jubba's belly, but it wouldn't take much longer even if I were doing this from scratch. Keep in mind that there will be a, well, try not to do that. Ow. There will be a big tentacle here, preventing you from going down there, but, yeah, so we're not going to go down there. Again, you should have Ruto with you at this time. Take her over here, as far in this direction as you can. This switch will need to be pressed down. You don't require Ruto to be staying on the switch. Go into this room. I believe there will be a large no. Is there a large flopping thing in this room? Whatever is in this room, pick this up. I think it's a compass. Or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. And then you continue over in this direction. This time you will need Ruto with you, because she will need to hold down that switch. You go in here, and I believe in here you will acquire a boomerang. And then you will probably not have access to that room, but instead this room over here. I think it's that room down there. Clear that room and then you go in there. Then clear that room and then you go down there. And then at that point, I believe you can return to the main room, which is here. And then you drop down here. And then you can kill 2 sculptures. There's one on the wall there and one, I think, here. And then you continue on. I'm a little concerned that I haven't run into Ruto yet. I don't know where the hell she's ended up. This, I believe, is the mini-boss room. Or a mini-boss room. Obviously, the mini-boss has already been killed. I apologize. Believe me, it's better than re-recording that part. But, well, I suppose potentially that part could still be used, but... Oh, here we go. So you do need to boomerang this. That keeps it in place. Not permanently, I should mention. Then jump over to here. And across you go. Keep in mind that this is one of those dungeons that does not require a boss key. I don't believe that a boss key is required at any point until you reach the Forest Temple. Now that we're down here, this is actually still the main room. I don't know where Ruto's ended up. I do actually require her now. I really have got no idea where she is. You're supposed to have the boomerang by this point, though, I will mention. I actually can't proceed without her, so... Oh no, I can proceed without her. I'm being quite foolish. I don't think you're meant to have her here, so what you do instead is you get a box, and then you carry it. And then... down on the switch. That is the function that Ruto, of course, serves in normal circumstances, but we do not have her with us now. Okay, so I'd recommend killing the jellyfish. There is also a gold sculpture in this room. Don't precisely remember where it is, but I believe I've already picked it up. Or killed it, I suppose, would be the better way of putting it. Oh no, I have not already killed it. I suppose this is about where I got up to in the save file, so what we're doing now, I believe, is all brand new, at least as far as the save file is concerned. So there is a door just up here, and we will get through it. But what is required is that we climb this first. And throw the boomerang while standing just here. That's not the boomerang, Doomlink. So if you target it, Link will be able to throw it around that wall. And now we can enter the door, or pass through the door, because it is open to us. And I think that's basically the dungeon completed. And it will only take probably another 10 minutes more than that when you get through it. But I suspect that this is the boss room. Yeah, this is Baronade. And he's quite easy to kill. You just have to be slow, patient, and don't be too aggressive with him. You can see that he was throwing some electricity in our direction. Just keep moving to the side, target these tentacles on the ceiling, and you'll be alright. Nope. Okay, we want to come in, hit the body. It gives us an opportunity to slash at said body. Alright, now we stand back. Try to find our opportunity to hit the main body. It is difficult to do it with these jellyfish spinning around him, but they're not going to be spinning the entire time. This is where the patience comes in, of course. Come on. There we go. Ah, yes, what we want to do is actually kill the jellyfish so that he no longer has the protective barrier between him and his body, which is the function that the jellyfish serve. I'll just keep throwing. There you are. Managed to kill one of the jellyfish with the return of the boomerang. And if you're stupid like me, you end up doing things like, I don't know. Oh. Yeah, you end up walking straight into the boss, which is really not what you want. Again, move to the side to avoid the electricity. Once the body comes up, you can hit it with a boomerang again. Sidestepping is the strategy, really. Then hit the body again, and that is the boss done. That is Lord Jumbu Jumbu's belly. Speedrunning. Well, not really speedrunning, that's just straight up cheating. Imagine if you can pause the clock on the speedrun, complete the dungeon about halfway through, and then save and reload, and then resume the timer on the speedrun. If that would be considered legitimate, then yes, that was a speedrun. And there's Ruto over that way. We're not going to see her straight away because I'm instead getting this heart container, and then I'm going to see if there are any rupees in here. Oh, gross. If you hit the wall, it jiggles. You may have also noticed that there's a pretty gross effect in this whole dungeon where it really does want you to believe that you're inside a belly. Inside a living thing. It's a sort of undulating, is how I would describe it. You're late. What took you so long? You're useless. I do find it funny that she continues to have that face during the ascension. It's like the wind has changed and she's got a face, a silly face. That's what I was told as a child. If you make stupid faces, then it'll stay that way if the wind changes. I don't really know how that works. Do you see how she's a lot less seductive in this scene as compared with the original? In the original, she was sort of swaying from side to side, like chest forwards. But here, she just slowly floated in our direction with a rather suggestive face. I want that spiritual stone, yes. So, for those who are a little bit concerned by how quickly I just got through Lord Jabu Jabu's belly, fear not. That's not going to be a repeated experience here in this live stream series. You think her eyes were half open as well? Yeah. But yes, this is not going to be a repeated experience. This is just because it was necessitated by the previous issues of my last attempt at recording this. And there is the ugly Zora Sapphire. It looks terrible. It looks much too rounded. My criticisms of it are similar to that of the Kokiri Emerald. The criticism really can be summarized as follows. It looks ugly. It looks butt ugly. And I don't know. I suppose some things looked just fine in the original, and then when you try to update it, it just inevitably becomes worse, but that's alright. It's not really ruining my experience with the game. That would be quite extreme. Anyway, hello AJ. I don't know if it's helpful to break these. There was a fairy that I saw in the dungeon, but I didn't really feel that it was necessary for me to put it in a bottle. I already have a fairy, actually, now that I look at it. But anyway, so what we'll do is we are going to do a few tasks, or complete a few tasks, before heading into the future, because that is all that's left for us to do really. We acquire the Ocarina of Time, and then we learn the Song of Time, and then we go into the future, because we've now got all 3 spiritual stones. But there are, of course, I guess, side quest related things that we can do. So what we are going to do, in that vein, is plant some magic beans. If you recall, in an earlier part, we bought a whole load of magic beans. And we're now going to use some of them. As for where I'm going, I'm heading back to Kokiri Forest, I think. I could have just quit and reloaded and it would have been faster, but I guess this is a more interactive way of getting back to the Kokiri Forest. Whether that's better or not, I will leave you to be the judge. Alright. As for how much I'm going to get done in this live stream, I mean, this part, obviously, is not going to be any longer than usual, but this session, this recording session, for which some of you will be able to join me live, is probably going to be long enough to encompass maybe the first 2 or 3 dungeons of this game in the future. So, there you have it. I'm very, very good at failing to immediately get lost in the Lost Woods. You know how if you go in the wrong direction in the Lost Woods, you get lost. Well, when I'm going backwards through it, I always somehow manage to go through a legitimate pathway instead of immediately getting lost, even though perhaps returning to the beginning is actually my objective. Is there anything worth buying in this game other than the magic beans? Not that I can think of. There aren't too many things that you end up putting your money into, in my opinion. Technically, rupees are required in order to do the Happy Masks Salesman's quest, but not that many. In fact, I could even be wrong about that, I don't recall. But yeah, there isn't too much that you spend money on in this game. But because I'm a little bit of a hoarder of rupees, I do like to have the largest possible wallet, and it is worth mentioning that now that we've completed Lord Jabu Jabu's belly, we have, in total, 31 gold sculpture tokens, which means that we can access the Giant's wallet. So you start with your standard wallet at the beginning of the game, which is a maximum of 99 rupees. You then, via the acquisition of 10 sculpture tokens, can get the Adult's wallet, which gives you a maximum of 200 rupees, and then, now that I have 30 gold sculpture tokens, I can get what's called the Giant's wallet for a maximum of 500 rupees, which I guess is mildly exciting to some people. Potentially even me. What I'm doing here is planting a magic bean. Just need to go and equip it. I really hate the item selection system in this game. I'm not going to give you a full rundown of what bothers me about it, but it frustrates me. That's all you need to know. Okay, now that's what's magical about the bean. As soon as you put the seed in there, the bean begins to sprout. And there you have it. So that's going to be useful as a shortcut. It doesn't achieve quite as much as what other magic beans will achieve in the future. And it is worth mentioning that that is what we're actually doing this for. We're planting the beans now so that we may utilize the fully grown magic bean in the future. So with that one planted, we will proceed to Lake Hylia. Now there is a magic bean in Gerudo, the Gerudo Desert, but we don't need it, because it's actually, its only function is to take you to that heart piece behind the waterfall, as I understand it. And we really don't need that, because if you recall, we used a Kuko to actually fly to that heart piece. So that's all been taken care of. Other things to take care of before going into the future, before becoming adult Link, is learning Epona's song. Now, I think I have learned Epona's song. Let me just pull out my Ocarina and check. Yes, I have learnt Epona's song. What that means is that you'll be able to acquire Epona in the future. If you don't know the song, you cannot tame the creature if you do not have the song. So go and get that song. I think now that I have a boomerang, actually, I can acquire a gold sculpture token in the, what do you call it? Lon Lon Ranch location. Of course, it's only at night time, but that's not really an issue to me. I am not really bound by the laws of time. Not because I have the Song of Time, or even the Ocarina of Time. I have the Sun Song, which means I can make it night or day at my whim, which is always useful. Oops, pressing the wrong buttons. I find it a little quicker to do a backflip over that fence than to actually climb over it. I could be wrong, but it's probably going to take about the same amount of time. I would probably recommend asking a speedrunner if one is better to do than the other, but as we've established, I'm a fake speedrunner who likes to, you know, stop the clock, complete half of the dungeon, and then resume the clock. Alright, so the reason why we're going into Gerudo Valley, despite the fact that we... Oh, here we go, this one also requires the boomerang, that's good. The reason why we're going into the Gerudo Valley is because we need to go this way in order to reach Lake Hylia. I am familiar with the fact that I do not need to plant that magic bean in the soft soil in the Gerudo Valley. So, off we go. It's a pretty incredible drop if you think about it. I mean, that I do suspect that that would be far enough to give you a serious injury if you fell that far into water. I don't think it would kill you, but I think you'd probably break something. Anyway, I could of course be wrong. I'm not too sure how far you can fall before being injured in water, but anyway, we will make our way up to the soft soil. Come on. And this will give us access to a heart piece. Most of them do serve that function. They will act as a platform to a heart piece. And I'm not really determined in any way to get all of the heart pieces in the game, because you can't even see my hearts when I'm playing, which is, yeah, I didn't realize it until the last attempt at this recording, but it turns out that much of the incentive, much of the allure of getting all of the heart pieces is actually being able to see maximum heart containers on your screen, or knowing indeed that you've acquired a lot of heart pieces at whatever point in the game you've reached. If I can't even showcase that, what's the point? What I'm doing now is I am using bombs. I believe if I drop one just here, there will be a hole in the ground. I think this gives me access to either a gold sculpture or a heart piece. I don't remember which of the two. I think it's a heart piece. Need to get a little closer. Alright, you win. He's selling us a heart piece for 10 rupees. Alright, I've completed another heart container. Not that you can see them, though. Not that you can see them. Yes, Link is a bit of a different sort of diver to your average person. He likes to dive head first, in a very literal sense. His head will be the first thing to break the surface of the water. Now, there is indeed a reason why divers do put their hands in front of them. It's so that their head is not the object that breaks the water. But anyway, I mean, Link is not really offering himself up as a good example of how to dive, or how to swim even. I suppose it could be argued by any person who would say, well, I mean, or if you were to put forward the argument that he's a terrible example of how to dive, the criticism could be made that he's a terrible example of how to swim in general. Have you seen him swim? He looks slightly physically disabled, but anyway. Or mentally. Whatever leads one to do that, I suppose. Let's go and head up to the castle. We're not actually going to enter the castle because I do have business in Kakariko Village before I proceed, but there is a cutscene that needs to play out here at the castle. You may have noticed that at no point was the drawbridge down, and it was never lifted. What is going on? Yeah, I'm familiar with how you'd be able to do that, AJ. Like, get parts of the lower screen on the top screen. Even with low opacity, but I don't like how it looks. I think it's better just not to have it at all. Of course, this is a cutscene that is, I'm guessing, perfectly accurate down to the frame as the original cutscene, but they've obviously remade the whole thing. So, hello Takashi, thanks for joining. And there's Mr. Ganondorf, who actually does not look quite as ridiculous in this version. I mean, he still has a colossal nose. His nose is still about a third the length of his head, but, and also his ears still stick out a lot. But he's got quite a good facial expression. See, he's got a lot of personality in his face, and he actually does carry forward a bit of intimidation factor, whereas in the original, you couldn't really feel much intimidation, but yeah. It is one thing that they did very well in this remake. It was the facial expressions and also the faces in general. In my opinion, that was done quite well. Alright, the only difference here is Ganondorf's text speed. Yeah, I suppose it makes more sense for it to be slower because it's, that's part of it. That's part of the presentation of the moment. Speeding up the text speed probably was not even something they were thinking about. I suppose that was just automatically done. I would love to play a version of this game where you have different facial expressions. Like, for example, in that facial expression. Oh, sorry, in that moment, Link watching Ganondorf ride away. Instead of just having that very neutral and unexpressive facial expression, maybe he instead would be just going, but for an awkwardly long period of time. I'd like that a lot. Alright, let's dive down and get the Ocarina of Time that was tossed into the water. Alright. Oh, now that we've picked that up, we are, I guess, passing out in the water. Link is going to drown, and that is going to be the end of everything. Link, can you hear me? It's Zelda. When you hold this ocarina in your hand, I won't be around anymore. No, actually, I just stole it from you. I picked your pockets, Zelda. It wasn't that Link was trying to touch your ass or anything, it just happened very suddenly. He had an inexplicable compulsion to shake you down. And there you go. There's the Song of Time. Well, I suppose if Zelda had tossed the ocarina and it didn't actually hit the water, and instead hit the ground, I suppose it would have broken. Imagine that. Maybe the stem of the flute just breaks. Potentially you'd still be able to play it, it would just sound a bit weird. And there you go. With that, we continue on to our next objective, which is in Karkrika Village. We've got 2 more soft soil locations, and also we want to redeem our 30 plus gold sculpture tokens in order to get our next wallet upgrade. Now, we don't have that many rupees, we've got 95, but you never know. I may yet have a use for rupees. One cost of rupees in this game that I can think of is Dunpay's game. So, AJ asked if there's anything worth buying in the game. Well, one thing that does require rupee expenditure is Dunpay's game, and that's essentially him digging in soft locations in Karkrika Village graveyard. And he eventually digs up a heart piece for you. I can't really get over this, I'm sorry. That's... the prancing is so over-animated. It's difficult to look at. Navi, shut up. If you could possibly restrain yourself for so much as 10 minutes even, just 10 minutes. It's all I ask. Just leave me alone. I really wouldn't have expected her to be as nagging and annoying in this version as she is in the original, because in my view, that's one of the primary criticisms of Ocarina of Time. It is the fact that Navi is insufferable, and yet they've done very little to change that, to improve upon that. Takashi runs in this way. Well, I wouldn't want to cast aspersions, Takashi, but if that is your default method of running, it's not very efficient. There's a lot of wasted energy in that run. I think you can get it a little more efficient than that. Let's go. Sometimes when you do a jump attack on them, you end up just glomping the enemy, which generally results in harm to you. I would recommend against glomping in general, in fact, but particularly glomping enemies. Alright. And I think this is going to be the last soft soil that we worry about. There may be others, but there's one other thing I'm going to do while I'm here, and that is acquire a heart piece. It's a heart piece that we weren't able to get before because we didn't have enough hearts to get it. It's the one in the Death Mountain crater, in other words, at the top of the volcano. And if you've got enough hearts, you will have enough time to go in there without burning to death. And you'll ideally have enough time to pick up the heart piece and get out. So that's what we're aiming to do now. Navi, stop. What is my objective? It is to equip this. What is my objective? Well, my objective is to not come to too much harm here by using this shield. Alright, there we go. I always miss the last rock. The last rock always gets me. I like how I can still control the camera while I'm doing this. But yeah, I think it's just really incredible that Na'vi... I don't know if she wants to speak to me more often or less often here in this version as compared to the original. It actually could go both ways. But what is remarkable is that they've made her warning, or rather her prompt, that's the word I'm looking for, her prompt is now even more visible than it was before. Now it's her name appearing on, like flashing on the screen underneath my character. It's absurd. I mean, what were they thinking? I'm sure there's a mod that I can get that just completely removes that text. But anyway. It's annoying, that's all I can tell you. Alright, so if we head over this way, we will be able to acquire a heart piece, as long as we do this quickly enough. So we've got 1 minute to get it done. Oh no, what's Na'vi going to do? There's a timer right in the spot where her notification comes up. God, it looked like I was about to fall, didn't it? And here's your heart piece, it looks really small. Alright. And back up. We've got plenty of time to do it with our number of heart containers. We've got 9 heart containers, I think, at the moment. Which is quite good for this point in the game. I don't suspect that I've acquired every single heart piece, but I've acquired probably most of them that you can get. Alright, we're now going to speak to him and get a ride down to Kakariko Village. Well, that weight loss technique you're describing, Takashi, was obviously not very effective for these carpenters. Yes, good old Roru. We will be meeting Roru very soon. Very soon. We have already, by the way, acquired this heart piece, just to remind you. And by this heart piece, I mean the one that's contained within that building. Already got it. Alright, the last thing that we're going to do, I think, before going into the future, is redeem our gold sculpture tokens. And I think this is the guy. The curse has been broken, here's a reward for you. Yes, you got the Giant's Wallet, maximum of 500 rupees. Now, if I were intending to get all of the heart pieces, I think I would have to get something like 50 or 60 gold sculpture tokens, because one of the rewards is a heart piece. But, yeah, look, here's the point. I'm not going to be getting all of the gold sculpture tokens. But if I'm also not getting all heart pieces, I may be able to stop collecting gold sculptures at this point. It's very tempting to stop. We'll see how I feel, but I think that's probably what's going to happen. It could be argued that the gold sculpture token quest and the heart piece related to it is one of the harder heart pieces to get in the game. One of the more time-consuming ones, I guess you could say. There are other rewards along the way, but yeah, it's quite time-consuming. Alright, I think we've done just about everything that I would want to do before going into the future. Of course, it's important to mention that we are always given the opportunity to come back to this time, so it's not as if it's the end of the world if you miss anything, or if you forget to do anything. What I might do, though, is finish this part up here. I will obviously be continuing the live stream. But this will be the end of this particular part. I don't really remember what part number it is. It's probably like part, I don't know, 9 or part 10. But that is all for now. I will see you in the next part where we go into the future. See you then.